The fucking time.
I try not to.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to episode 2 of the Screwball Podcast. I'll be your host this afternoon. I'm Nathan Ryder, joined by Michael Cake.
Yo.
And today we're another episode a little earlier than anticipated due to the Houston Astros situation happening out there with punishment being laid out by Major League Baseball. We'll run it down through you really quick what the punishment was. Jeff Lunau, general manager, and manager A.J. Hinch were both suspended for 1 year, and both were immediately fired by team owner Jim Crane. Alex Cora, fired by Boston for his role in the scandal. He's awaiting punishment from Major League Baseball in the case, because Boston also has a little bit of blood on their hands too in this whole situation, it seems. Carlos Beltran, fired by the Mets despite never managing the game due to his connection in the scandal. First and second round picks in the 2020 and 2021 drafts will be forfeited by the Astros, and they were fined $5 million, most allowed under the current collective bargaining agreement. So, yeah, that's the punishment. Mike, what is your thoughts on the whole situation?
So I think it was right for all the people involved in it to be fired. I feel like no players are getting punished for their roles in this. I feel like they should have some sort of punishment, maybe if it's like a suspension or something. I just think that all the players that were from the 2017 World Series Championship that are still on the team should be suspended just because they did have a huge part of this. They let it happen. They cheated as well. And I just think they deserve a punishment just as much as everybody else does.
Well, for me, the thing about A.J. Hinch is that if MLB can prove that Alex Cora was the whole ringleader in this whole situation, whatever you want to call it, I think the year's suspension to Hinch is going to look like a slap on the wrist compared to what Cora is going to get from the commissioner if they can prove that he was the ringleader. Like, I would not be surprised if Cora was given a lifetime ban because he was the ringleader in Houston, from what I understand. A.J. Hinch found the setup that Cora had for the sign stealing incident, and he smashed the monitors not once, but twice. But he did not stop it, so that's why he deserves the 1 year suspension and immediate firing. But yeah, Beltran, I think, was just proxy.
Yeah.
He was close enough to the situation, and whatever, he was let go by the Mets, even though he never did a single game managing the Mets. But yeah, so too harsh or too soft? Where are we on this spectrum?
I think what they did to the team itself was just right. I think the players, again, like I said, from the 2017 team, too soft. I think they had to do at least something to those players. I know a lot of the players that are from that team are still there, so that might affect a lot of their team. I know it is. It's fine. We can turn it down later. It's just the fact that players like Altuve aren't going to get any punishment because if he does have that, for example, that buzzer underneath his shirt, for example, if that is true, he cheated with them, and he's very much a part of that thing. He's their best player, and he knew what was happening probably. Obviously he did because he was part of it. So that's what I think, that there should have been a harsher punishment for players.
I don't think I'm in the belief that I don't think there was a buzzer involved.
I don't think so either, but if it is true.
The Major League Baseball did a very thorough investigation. They spent the entire offseason to this point investigating the Houston Astros, and they found no evidence of a wearable device being used by any player on the Houston Astros during the 2017, 2018, 2019 seasons. And there was a big debacle on Twitter about what looked like to be a wearable device on Josh Reddick in some celebration photos after, I think it was the ALCS victory over the Yankees in their World Series year. But that turned out to be a piece of confetti.
Yeah.
It was a piece of gold-colored confetti that flew off from after they won the pennant. But personally, I think the punishment could have been a little harsher. I was surprised that there was I think the first and second round picks for the next 2 years is warranted. What I also might want to note on this, that they do not lose the compensation pick they get from losing Garrett Cole, so they'll still have a pick between the first and second rounds of this coming June. I was surprised there's no international bonus money involved. I would think that they would strip the Astros of at least 75% of their bonus money for 1 year. I think that would have been warranted in this whole debate, as that severely hinders teams' rebuild. But so I'm going to say that this was, I think this was, I'm right in the middle on this, but a touch toward the too soft for the punishment for the Houston Astros.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting that this all happened the way it did. It also leaves the question of, is Cora doing it with the Red Sox too? Kind of imagine it wouldn't be happening, but then again, they also won the World Series the next year. So,
and in the games if Cora's got blood on his hands with two scenarios, like easy 10-year ban, if not 5 to 10-year ban, if not lifetime, for Alex Cora. I think we mention that he was also canned by Boston.
I've seen reports that if he's not indefinitely suspended, there were some people out there that were saying that they would join or be the head coach or the manager of the Red Sox if it was guaranteed that Cora came back the next year.
I think the one name I saw in those reports was Jason Varitek, longtime catcher for Boston. He was the team captain for years and years. I think he would be he's 47 years old as of right now. I think he could be a great long-term manager for the Red Sox. If I had to pick a manager for Boston today to manage that team next year, it would be Jason Varitek.
Gibbons, I'm kidding.
For the other teams, Houston, I think, might go back. I think Gibby's going to end up in
probably.
Houston. John Gibbons, Texan, managed the Blue Jays for years. Had a fairly successful stint there from 2014, 2015 through
2017, 2018.
Yeah, 2018 I think was his last year in Toronto. But the Mets, I don't have the slightest clue who they would want to be their next manager. It looked like they were set on having Carlos Beltran right in the lineup card for that team. But
has David Wright officially retired yet?
Yeah, he's been out since he had that whole spinal condition. He's been out of the game since.
He came back 2 years ago. I guess that was 2 years ago though.
Yeah, he retired. He could be David Wright if they want to go with that ex-player route again, or if they might want to go somewhere more there.
Well, if you think about David Wright, the players obviously know him already, so they respect him. And he's obviously one of the best players they've had in a long time, despite the injuries. And the fact that I think that he did just come out of the league and he knows what's going on with the league right now, bringing that young up-and-coming coach in might not be the baddest idea ever.
That's true. I think David Wright could be a fit in New York. If he wants to manage, though, he might want to spend some time, still enjoy his retirement a little bit, spend some time with his family, because if he went back to managing the Mets, it would be back to being a full-time commitment just as much as it would be being a player in New York. So that's the whole managing situation. There's a little bit. What do you think about Mike Fiers when he came out and talked and accused the Astros of the whole situation after he had already left the team and was playing for a division rival? There's been plenty of people come speak out about that. Jessica Mendoza and Pedro Martinez come to mind, but
I just think that people from outside the situation, obviously Fiers was in the situation, but I think players outside the situation should just stop talking until everything's official. I think the fact that everybody is kind of running their mouth and saying this, that, and everything about people, obviously if everything else continues and they find more stuff, then I could say they can talk. But I think everybody blowing up and saying how bad everything is and everything like that should be just stop for now. I think the beginning talking point of it all should be done because it's been talked about for 2 weeks straight now, and I think they can just stop talking about it now.
Like for me, the point that hit home from those two people speaking out was Pedro Martinez, Hall of Famer. He was saying that anybody in the clubhouse for Oakland could have issues trusting Fiers if he blows the whistle about the Houston Astros after he's already left the Astros. This guy's played for multiple major league teams in his career. He's played for Milwaukee.
Yeah.
He was a Milwaukee Brewer. He hit Stanton in the face. Was an afterthought in a trade to Houston for Carlos Gomez. Bounced to Detroit.
Played pretty well there.
And then ended up in Oakland on a playoff team the last couple of years. So, solid major league career for Fiers, but that's still... I really agree with that point from Pedro, though, that it could be... Like, if he's been through all these major league clubhouses and he's only blowing the whistle about the Astros now, what else could he potentially come up with and other issues he could point out?
See, if I'm his former teams, I would be worried. But if I'm the A's, I wouldn't be worried. I think that he's there with the A's, and I think it's a brotherhood there. So I think they will be able to just stay as one and stay like that. I don't think there's going to be any issues in the clubhouse until he says anything.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Houston recovers from this, obviously. They'll have to go with a new bench boss, new general manager, and whatnot. And you'll have to be very creative about how to restock that farm system if you're good. Whereas the Astros look like they can still be competitive for a few years after this. Even with the whole sign stealing debate, they still have some solid players in place there.
Well, that's the thing though, because the team is still so young. They still have Correa there. They still have
Bregman, Altuve, Springer. They still have Springer for another year. I believe he's a free agent after the 2020 season.
See, the thing is, if I'm the players on that team, though, do you really want to stay there after everything? Do you really want to stay with a team that has that reputation of cheating, and you can always have that resume of they cheated?
Well, there's Tyler.
But yeah, so I think Springer's gonna be gone after next year. I think that players aren't gonna want to stay.
So he's gonna get a lot of money for the production he's put up.
I just don't see players wanting to stay there because of everything that's happened, and because they have that reputation now, and they don't want to have that reputation on their own names. I think they need to go restart somewhere else.
Yeah, Springer had a tremendous year last year. He was the leadoff man in Houston. If he can put up even if he did have a 9.74 OPS in Houston last year, which was well above his career average being an 8.49 OPS. But if he can prove that the sign stealing wasn't affecting Springer, and he can still do what he did last year, 292 batting average, 39 bombs, 96 ribbies, 974 OPS, 150 OPS plus, like that was tremendous year for Springer last year. I hope he can continue that. Most of Houston's offensive threats continue to be good players. Like I think Houston, as we did in our way too early seasons prediction episode, I think they'll still be the favorite team in that division in the American League Central with Verlander, with Greinke. Might have to get a younger guy up there for like a Francis Martes, Forrest Whitley up there to fill that rotation void left by Garrett Cole going to New York. But I still think this is a playoff team, and a good dangerous playoff team despite all the accusations against them.
Well, this team, just rattle off some of the players they have. Obviously, they have one of the best pitching staffs in the league. They got Greinke. Alrighty then. They got Lance McCullers Jr., who's still young, is going to come back. They got Osuna, who's going to be one of the best closers in the league in the future. They have Joe Smith, who's pretty good.
Joe Smith was a steal of contract, by the way. as we have Tyler and Josh in the room now.
I'm sorry, I'm just putting my stuff away.
They have Verlander still, who's going to be Verlander.
He's Verlander. He's going to be good.
They just picked up Maldonado, which is a very good pickup.
Maldonado?
Yeah. Names don't go well with me sometimes, okay?
The Latino, you can tell he's a big hockey guy. The Latino names trip him up a little bit. For me, I can say a Russian name, so I get where you're coming from.
They still have Gurriel. Still have Alvarez. This team is still a good team. I think Alvarez is going to be a very good second-year player.
Alvarez is going to be a stud if he's anywhere close to his rookie season throughout his career. He'll be a 35 home run a year type guy. As a DH. You still have solid defense out there, and Houston, like you're losing Los Marisnik to New York, but you'll still have speedster defensive specialists. Miles Straw in the minor league system comes to mind, but
let's not even mention they have Joe Biagini too.
Do they have Biagini? Oh, yeah, we got rid of Sanchez though.
That's okay. I wouldn't have kept him around, honestly. He's not going to have a team next year, I don't think.
Aaron Sanchez, I think somebody will sign him as a set guy. He was very good in the bullpen during Toronto's 2015 playoff run. He was the guy in front of Roberto Osuna, and I think he could fill that similar void because when he's a reliever, his two-seam just goes all over the damn place, and it's like 98 miles an hour.
Not to mention in 2016, he was the ERA title too.
As a starter.
For the Blue Jays, yeah.
So here's a funny story I can share about Aaron Sanchez. I'm in Chicago with my family at U.S. Cellular Field. We're watching the Jays and Sox.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this Sox fan sitting next to us, like, big overweight guy. Sitting next to us. He's watching us, and he's like, we could... Sox are down 6-3 in the 8th inning at this point. Sanchez comes in. He's like, we can hit this guy pretty good. He's throwing 93 to 94 miles an hour in warm-ups. The first pitch he threw to Alexi Ramirez was 101.
Yeah.
That's how he can throw gas in the bullpen if he's only going for 1 to 2 innings at a time. And that's why I think Aaron Sanchez will be employed. He will not go not employed. I know he's got injury problems, but in the bullpen, Aaron Sanchez is going to be amazing.
Might even get a minor league deal, honestly.
Probably not with the Jays, but...
I wouldn't take him if I'm the Jays. You're in rebuild mode. Maybe.
Maybe a little bit biased here from my perspective. I'd love to see him end up with the Cubs in the bullpen. Go with Craig Kimbrell,
Brendan Morrow.
Brian Morrow. Hope that guy stays healthy.
Just fill your former Blue Jays up in there, why don't you?
I am a little biased. I did say that.
No, I know. I'm just saying, get a little Blue Jays bullpen going in the Cubbies organization.
Aaron Loup. Get Aaron Loup in that bullpen.
I wouldn't take Aaron Loup anywhere, honestly. No offense, Aaron Loup.
For his throwing motion to throw 94 miles an hour, 94, 95 miles an hour that he's hit in the past, he doesn't sit there, but he can still touch 94, 95 when he's way over first base side of the rubber. As a left-handed batter, he looks like he's throwing behind you. That's impressive.
He's not consistent, though. One game he'll throw 2 perfect innings, and then the next game.
Specialist, though.
Lefty specialist who's inconsistent, yes.
So that's enough for that topic for now. Another hot topic in the baseball world, Nolan Arenado. Not impressed with Colorado. All the trade rumors that have been circulating. Will a disgruntled Arenado be dealt from Colorado, or will he stay put in the Rockies for this year?
See, for me, I don't really understand why they even wanted to trade him in the first place. I think this Rockies team was still growing, was still in the middle of their rebuild, and Arenado's still a very young guy. He's obviously, 28, 29?
Let me double check.
Could be even 26. He's been good for that long. He's still a young guy. They still have Trevor Story. They still have You still have all these good guys still on this team that I think they can continue to be a good team throughout. Well, they obviously haven't been a good team. They've obviously failed to reach expectations. Their pitching's been their issue, though. You cannot say that their offense has been their issue because they have 3 batters that I think can be 30 home run players. And I just think that they need to not trade their stars and rebuild that bullpen.
Well, if you look at Arenado's going into his age 29 season next year, he's still in the middle of his prime. He's probably got another 3 years.
Oh, I was right about him being 28. Holy shit.
He's going to have another 3 years of his prime. And his projected stats for next year, according to Baseball Reference, 35 home runs, 103 RBIs, 300 average, 939 OPS. Those are projected. Those are projected stats. So, if he's anywhere close.
I think he'll beat those projected stats.
Being in Colorado, probably. This is a guy who's hit 42 home runs and driven in 133 runs before.
He didn't win MVP, which is crazy to me. Who won the MVP that year?
And that would have been 2016.
Oh, was that the Goldschmidt year?
I'm looking it up. This is a very professional podcast. I'm using Google right now. Chris Bryant. Chris Bryant was the MVP in 2016, but he had like 120. He had a lot of runs driven in too.
That's true, but
And his team won the World Series and
Yeah.
was the best team in the National League.
yeah, I'd still take Arnetta's numbers over him probably.
Let's compare Chris Bryant, who's also a trade target, with
So wait, what year was the Goldschmidt year? The year before? I could have sworn that Goldschmidt won one year.
probably dead.
That was in 2015.
I think you're right. Did he ever win MVP?
I thought he did. He might have not have. He might have got robbed. Maybe that's what I'm thinking. He probably got robbed a couple of years.
Finished runner-up in 2013 and 2015.
Oh, he was runner-up. Okay, that makes sense.
But that season for Chris Bryant, as a 24-year-old,
Arenado was, when was this, 2016? He was 25, so it wasn't that much of a difference in age.
and Bryant hit 292 with 39 home runs, 102 runs driven in, won the MVP for the Cubs, who won the World Series.
Hold on, how many home runs did he have?
39.
Okay, so 3 home runs more for Arenado, almost 30 more RBIs. A team that wasn't as good. Obviously, that's why he won MVP. But the
Coors effect and how much baseball writers take that into consideration.
Yeah.
Larry Walker probably won't get into the Hall of Fame today because of the Coors effect, and I'm very sad by that development.
Yeah, Arenado's going to be a great player as partly in that side of the conference. I'm a big fan of the Rockies. Sorry, Jesus. I'm a big fan of the Rockies on the other side there. I liked them since they had Tulo and Cargo. I just think that they need to slow down, rethink themselves, and get starting pitching and some bullpen.
Still, as we talked about in our previous episode, Kyle Freeland's going to be
Better.
I hope he's better because he could be the key to that team's success because you mix him in with a Herman Marquez, and you got that could be a solid one too.
Gray is going to have a bounce back year too, I think.
If you can get 3 to 4 solid starters and a bullpen that's major league average in Colorado,
that team could go to the playoffs next year.
Yeah, if they get a major league average bullpen and they have 3 good starters, because once you get down to the postseason, if you have
3 good starters, you could win.
3 good starters and 1 guy who can be an opener, you're fine.
Mm-hmm.
Because
do they have that opener though? Probably not.
Because look at the Nationals last year. They had Strasburg, Scherzer, Corbin, 3 good starters, and you had Anibal Sanchez as that number 4 guy. But he's Anibal Sanchez. He's in the tail end of his career. He's not going to be the lead starter anymore.
We said that about Harry Kendrick though, and then he just blew up again.
And he hit 344, but he was not playing in the full-time role for most of the season.
God, what is happening?
So if I had...
Going 12 pages for the Endeavor.
Oh, no.
Oh, well. More chance for me to have my 2 stories then.
I think think I'm gonna say if Arenado does get dealt, where do you think he'll go, Mike?
Obviously, the Braves just lost Donaldson. I think that is a realistic thing. You can trade like a Dansby Swanson for him. I don't think they will trade Dansby Swanson, but
they won't trade Swanson or Albies.
I don't see them doing that. But if you want to make a huge splash, that could be an option. Maybe trade somebody like a Max Fried for him.
I think Fried would be in that pack. I'm with you. That
Don't trade Soroka for the love of God.
they won't. If they trade Soroka, they're stupid. I think Soroka's untouchable.
I think Soroka's the Cy Young winner next year.
Because I mean,
Shout out to Calgary, by the way.
yeah, Calgary boy.
Well, shout out to my friend Noah, whose brothers is like his really good friend. So,
But if you look at the top 30 prospects for the Atlanta Braves, their number 1 and their number 2 prospect, Christian Pache and Drew Waters, both of those guys are outfielders. So if you could move one of them, and maybe
I would put Waters in that deal
you
probably.
could put Waters in that deal. Look deep, see if there's anybody else in the top 30 that.
But they need pitching, I think, the most. If you can get one pitching prospect and Max Fried, that'd probably be the biggest thing.
Like if you get it, you throw in a Max. Let's say you do Drew Waters,
Max Fried.
or Sean Newcomb. One of the two.
If I'm the Rockies, I'm going for Max Fried, not Sean Newcomb.
And then you mix in one of their lower end top 20 prospects that, like, throw in Thomas Burrows, Jasiel De La Cruz,
And then throw
Davidson, somebody like that.
And then throw in like a first or a second.
Comp balance pick. Because you can't trade normal.
Right, yeah, because the MLB's weird that way.
Yeah, every other sport you can trade a first round draft pick, but not Major League Baseball. So I think, like I said before, Arenado to the Braves.
Oh, you can go to the Nationals too.
I don't think the Nationals have as strong of a farm system as Atlanta. Because you're not moving Carter Kieboom.
Nope.
Because Carter Kieboom could play second base every day next year.
He could, yeah. I don't see that happening, but he could.
So he could be an everyday player in the second half of the season for you. I think if Howie Kendrick falls off a cliff.
I don't think he will, though. And obviously,
even if he doesn't, but Ryan Zimmerman falls off a cliff.
that's true.
Then you have Kendrick at first and Kieboom at second. Because, I mean...
Who do you have at third at that point?
At third... That's a big thing for Washington.
Could you move Turner over to the third?
I don't think they will.
I don't think they should, but they could do it.
They would put him in center field if they were going to move his position, but they have Robles.
Yeah. They need a third baseman. I don't know who
They need a third baseman, and that's what Washington needs. But will they get it at this point in the offseason? Donaldson, who's probably a likely target for them,
is gone
to Minnesota, who we predicted. We predicted that he would go to Minnesota.
Man, that team's gonna hit bombs
in that ballpark.
in that division. That really, really bad pitching division.
If when you're not facing a Lucas Giolito, Shane Bieber type starter
Keuchel.
from Chicago or Cleveland, they're gonna have a field day because I don't think there's anybody from Kansas City or Detroit that's gonna hold those guys in the yard.
True. Well, yeah, I guess you're true. I didn't think about it. I for some reason thought of Minnesota pitching, which I shouldn't have been because it is Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota face Minnesota.
Yeah, I was definitely. I don't know why I was thinking of burritos.
Jose Barrios.
Yes, burritos. I call them burritos for fun.
Burritos.
Like, who else could they potentially bring in?
But let's talk about another interesting thing that happened. Toronto Blue Jays, new powder blue alternate jerseys.
They were gonna do it eventually, honestly.
I think those are beautiful uniforms.
I like them. I think that it works with their new team, their new kind of attitude that they're going to go back up to from the young up and continue to have that kind of atmosphere of we're on the up and up, and this is our new jersey to go with it. I thought they should have done this years ago. I didn't like.
They had it for a while.
Yeah.
They got back in the Doc Halliday era, and then they got rid of it because I don't think the players particularly enjoyed it because they had the retro powder blues, like the ones that they wore in the 70s.
And then they went to the normal gray ones, which I really didn't like.
The black.
The black and gray ones, yeah.
They have, those black and gray, and then they went to
the Joey Bats era.
The early Joey Bats.
Yeah, when he first started blowing up, and then
they brought Brett Laurie up.
Fuck Brett Laurie, man. Maybe Washington should just pick up Brett Laurie for fun.
Yeah, Brett Laurie. Brett Laurie's gonna be the third baseman of the Washington Nationals. Heard it here first, folks.
Then they're gonna move to Montreal, and then he'll be back in Canada.
There you go. You heard it here first. It's gonna happen.
No, if anybody's moving to Montreal, it's Tampa Bay.
Tampa.
Well, they're already half there, pretty much. If they decide to do it,
they're trying to, but I don't think St. Petersburg will not build them a new stadium
just to be
for
half.
them to play half the games.
Yeah.
They will have to get full-time commitments for St. Pete to build a stadium.
And then
Same with Montreal.
And then they went to those baby blue ones, which I did like. I thought they were okay. I didn't think they were the greatest jerseys ever, but they were still manageable jerseys. And of course, they had the Canada Day jerseys that were red. I loved those ones. I wish I bought one, but I never did. And then, yeah, now they're here, and they have the nice jerseys.
And Nike's taking over all the jersey production next year. So
Nike's just taking over the friggin' jersey world.
Literally, like, every single jersey is going to have a Nike swoosh on it now.
Except for the Chell, yeah. Chell's going to have Adidas, I think. Or is it Reebok? I don't remember. It's one of the two.
Every single Major League jersey will have a Nike swoosh on it. Even the the traditional, New York Yankees, LA Dodgers, they'll have a Nike swoosh on it. Which a lot of people are up on arms, even though it's just a little tiny little swoosh. It's just a tiny little swoosh, and it's going to be all over the jersey.
People can suck it up.
I mean, I would prefer to not have a company's branding on a jersey.
Yeah, but they got to do it at this point. Branding is so big nowadays that if teams aren't doing it, they're losing money.
It's a good marketing move, don't get me wrong, but I don't know, it's just there's never really been logos on baseball jerseys before.
There hasn't.
It's been introduced recently into the NBA, but there's just little small things.
The NBA was smart to do it when they did it.
Don't the Raptors have Sun Life Financial or something?
Yes. Something like that. I don't remember. I don't pay attention to our jerseys that much anymore.
I just thought it was worth bringing up because it's.
Wow.
I want to get one of those powder blue jerseys with Halliday 32 on the back. I don't think they can sell those. But
No, I don't think they're going to get those ones. You can get an old one.
I can get an old one, but I want a new one.
But you can't get a new one. They're not going to sell them. They'd have to get permission from the wife, and who knows if the wife will let them do that.
That's true. They have to get permission from the directly.
Which I'm sure they'll let them do the old ones because you can't really stop the old ones from going around. But
that's true. It's or you get a Chinese knockoff.
If you want to create your own holiday jersey, feel free. But
dude, whatever floats your goat. We don't endorse piracy.
There we go. Let's get some merch going. The new Blue Jays jersey with holiday on the back. And instead of the Nike swoosh in the letters, it just says PPP.
There you go. New merch. You heard it here first.
No, we need
Brett Laurie to the Washington Nationals.
And new merch.
New merch.
We haven't even gotten merch with our own logo on it yet, so we're not gonna worry about that yet.
No new merch.
No new merch until we have at least 1,000 subscribers. So good luck with that one.
Brett Laurie
to the Nationals is confirmed. It is gonna happen.
It is gonna happen.
And he's gonna.
We said Donaldson was going to Minnesota, and it happened. So if we say Brett Laurie will go to Washington, it will happen. You just have to believe hard enough. Go on Twitter, tweet at Nationals, sign Brett Laurie.
Here's what you write. You go, Brett Laurie, sign him, and then say he's going to hit 107 home runs for you.
107 home runs for you. That doesn't mean in 1 year.
Yeah, it doesn't specifically say how much he's going to hit in the first year, but he's going to hit 107.
107 home runs. Brett Laurie will sign with the Washington Nationals and hit 107 home runs over the duration of the contract. You heard it here first.
Whether it's a 1 year or a 2 year, it's up to you guys. But I'm just saying, if you sign him for 1 year, he's going to get 107 home runs.
7-year deal, $245 million.
If you're giving Brett Laurie that kind of money right now, you're stupid.
I know.
That'd be ridiculous.
It was a joke.
I know.
We're not giving him Rendon money.
You
had a chance to give Rendon his money, and you didn't give Rendon his money. Pay the man. You should have paid the man, because I think you could have replaced Josh Berg a little bit more easily.
LA Council approves to award World Series title to Dodgers. Don't give them the pity one, please. They don't deserve it.
They don't need a pity one. They really don't.
Let them win it next year. They won't win it next year. They'll choke again.
They will choke again.
Or they'll lose to, like, the Brewers in the first round or something.
Yep. So, Dustin Pedroia, is his career over?
I'd say so.
I think Boston has, like, Michael Chavis in place there at second base.
Oh, yeah, and he's a good player. So.
And Pedroia's just been injured.
He's been injured for, like, 5 years consistently now.
He was a very durable player when he first came up, and he won.
He was very good. Yes.
And he won the MVP.
Honestly, if he had stayed healthy, he was going to be like a first ballot Hall of Famer. But now, you look at it and you go, he was injury filled his whole career. Oh, I have something else I want to talk about in a second.
What?
King Felix to the Braves last night. That did happen.
I was literally just about to talk about that.
Yeah,
But hot take. He makes the Major League roster. He's on the Major League roster long enough to make a start in Seattle at the end of May, and then he's done.
Honestly, I can see him in a bullpen role for him. Because I think he's only 32. He's not old.
He's like 35.
Is he? I thought he was like 32. I mean, if you click on this article, you'll probably see it.
He's like 35. He's 33.
Damn it. I was close.
We were both wrong.
Usually when I guess, I don't guess. I usually know like general ages. I'm usually like either spot on or their birthday like just happened and I'm like a couple months off. When was his birthday?
I don't know. I closed it.
God dang it. Go back to it. I want to know now.
His birthday is... what's the fourth month of the year? That's April.
Okay, so I'm almost a year off.
April 8th of 1986.
Okay, I was a year off.
Valencia, Venezuela. He's 6'3", 225. He did hit a grand slam in New York in Shea Stadium, though. Fun fact.
Did happen. But man, he's had a great career. Obviously, he's fallen off in the last couple of years, but he's been pretty good for most of his career. Over 2K Ks.
Yeah.
What else has happened recently with signings?
Joe Panik to the Blue Jays.
I like that deal a lot, actually. I think that the Giants let him go super, super easily.
Yeah, like they just waived him for nothing. Brought in
Scooter,
who didn't do anything.
Oh, that's who the Nationals can put at third base. Just put Scooter. I think I predicted that last video.
But Brett Laurie.
Oh, right. 105 homers.
They're already getting 106 homers out of Brett Laurie.
True. Weeders is going back to St. Louis.
He will never play because there's Yadier Molina.
Yep.
He will only play when Yadier Molina is physically.
I'm so confused why he went there in the first place.
Another interesting topic. This was on Twitter about a week ago. People accusing Mike Trout of using HGH. Do you buy it or do you not buy it?
I don't buy it. I think he's the best player in the league. I think
people are just trying to stir the pot after Fire stirred the pot with Houston. They're going to stir the pot by saying Trout has a thyroid issue that needs bloody human growth hormone. Like, are you kidding me? I'm not in the medical profession, but I don't think human growth hormone can cure thyroid problems. There's other things for that.
I just think that people Astros, I think Astros fans specifically could have started this too, like the whole. Well, hey, whose son was it that started it? Like
It was a nephew of Carlos Beltran, I think. Niece or nephew of Carlos Beltran.
or something like that. So obviously it's somebody like within the Astros organization who's just going out there and trying to take the attention away from the Astros. I think that obviously Trout wouldn't do something like that, although Trout hasn't said anything about it specifically. It could be true, could not be true. Don't be surprised there's some drug tests coming up here.
Yeah.
But
random drug tests.
honestly, at this point, for the MLB, it's not random. I think they pick them out specifically.
They do. They have an idea of who they want to test. Like if you
randomly hit 50 home runs in a season, you're gonna get checked.
even if you have a 2 home run game and you're Ryan Goins, you're gonna get drug tested. You're Ryan Goins. You were a backup infielder on the White Sox last year. You're gonna get.
He played well when he played.
Yeah, I still like Ryan Goins. I never saw him play the night I was there.
He's on drugs though for sure, 100%. You heard it here first.
Brett Laurie to Washington Nationals.
Oh, yeah. Tyler didn't hear this.
Tyler didn't.
So the
Tyler's
Nationals.
in the room. Washington Nationals are going to sign Brett Laurie to a 7-year deal worth $245 million.
And he's going to hit 106 home runs.
During the duration of the contract.
It's only 10 per year.
You're old as shit.
He's like 31, 32.
Brett Laurie.
He's on the Jays, right?
He was on the Jays, yeah.
He was on the Jays in 2014.
What the fuck happened to him?
He stops playing well.
He was born in 1990, so he's 30.
Well, hold on. When was his birthday?
January 18th, 1990. He just turned 30.
3 days ago, yeah. Congrats on hitting 30.
Happy birthday, Brett Laurie. You heard it here first.
See, this is what it is. The contract 3 days after, it's a conspiracy theory. As soon as you hit 30, you get that huge contract.
You get that huge contract from the
Nationals.
Defending World Series champions to play third base.
Play third base, and you're going to hit 106 home runs. Do the duration.
I'm not being serious at all. They're just probably going to put Asdrubal Cabrera.
Probably. Or Trey or something.
I fucking love Brett Laurie, though. Love the guy.
What else has happened in the news?
Let's
look back on the score. Shout out to the score for being our official app.
I'm going back quite a ways. Rock used to retire Larry Walker's number 33.
Yeah.
I hope he gets into the Hall of Fame today. I really do. I'd be sad because he's Canadian and he won't get in because of the Coors effect.
Darvish questions World Series implosion amid Astros scandal, which is fair. All those pitchers that had breakdowns against the Astros and people thought they were going to never be good again.
Yeah.
All because of the 3 batting averages, everybody basically, because they're cheating.
So, yeah, George Springer is in the final year of his arbitration. He's getting paid $21 million net this year. I don't know if he'll get paid. He'll get that kind of money, if not more, for multiple years if he's even remotely as good. Donaldson ended up on the Twins for a year, $92 million.
Oh, why'd you do that?
God damn it, Ted. This is why we can't have nice things. We have Tyler Verloop in the room.
I am a nice thing.
Oh, this is from a week ago. And I think it's a beautiful art of trolling from the score. Yankees affiliate plans trash can giveaway versus Astros farm team.
Oh.
Marketing director for whatever team, for the team that's doing that, you deserve a raise. That is a beautiful piece of marketing. So.
Oh, here we go. MLB next manager odds.
Ooh.
For the Astros. I'll let you read it. You're the host.
I'll do it. Joe Espada, the current bench coach, 2 to 3 odds.
I just don't like interims.
Buck Showalter.
No.
After Baltimore and New York. He was with the Yankees.
For a long time. Won some World Series.
Matt Quattraro, I think I'm saying this right, 11 to 2 odds.
Mm.
Brad Osmus.
No.
John
Actually, I like that fit, actually. Dusty Baker.
Even though he's terrible in the postseason.
I think he was good in the regular season, though.
2003 Chicago Cubs. I think it was 2016 Washington Nationals.
I think he's a good bench boss.
Hensley Mullins, 25-2.
Honestly, with this team, as long as you get to the playoffs, I think you're fine.
So Boston, Jason Varitek,
100%.
Ron Renicky.
No.
Hensley Mullins.
No.
Mark Kotze.
No.
Matt Quattraro. I'm butchering that name. I don't care.
No. I'm still very into Varitek, so I'm going to say no to everybody else.
Dusty Baker.
Maybe.
Eduardo Perez.
No.
Tim Bogar.
Maybe. I can see it.
Craig Breslow.
No.
Brad Osmus.
I just don't want Brad Osmus to be a manager anymore.
Bruce Bochy.
Ooh. I didn't think of that. Maybe.
I don't think so, because if he's retiring from San Francisco, he's retiring from baseball.
That's what I'm thinking too, but like if anybody can bring him back, it's the Red Sox.
Big Poppy.
That'd be funny, but no.
I mean, we haven't even talked about the Mets yet, so let's just go through some. Brad Osmus, manager of the New York Mets.
Is that number one?
It's not on the article. I'm just making it up.
Oh, thank God. If it was number one, I would have just...
Johan Santana.
Oh, maybe, actually. That's not a bad idea.
Johan Santana, David Wright, maybe Dusty to the Mets.
It's not a bad idea, young team.
Or Gibby.
I see Gibby going to the Astros, though.
I see Gibby going to the Astros, too, because he's a Texas guy. San Antonio is where he's from, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I think he's from San Antonio.
No, the Mets isn't on here. Whatever.
Yeah. Sorry, Mets, you don't get a new manager. You get Chili Davis. I don't know. But anything else we have to discuss here, Mike?
I'm looking. Oh, Bochy not playing to pursue Red Sox Astros manager roles.
Yep, that's what I said. It's not happening.
Springer avoids arbitration with 1-year deal with $21 million.
Just going over stuff we've gone over.
Bloom expects Mookie to be with the Red Sox on opening day. I think that's